Good morning. And as I begin in every lecture, I want to apologize about my bad English. And it's not a joke because some people say, you say it all the time, but my English stay very poor, so I need to apologize. And this time I need to apologize. It's not to apologize, it's to say that I'm sorry that I don't come from the beginning of this IDEC because my dad died a week ago, and I was in a meeting, family meetings that we have tradition in Israel and in the Jewish tradition that we are sitting a week together. And this yesterday I stopped this week, and I come to here because, from my point of view, you are part of my family, and to be here I hope and I feel that it will make good for me. So thank you. Today I go to talk with you about something really complicated. I'm going to talk with you about Democratic Education 2.0. But before I will talk about what it means, Democratic Education 2.0, I built this school, and I call it Democratic School in 1987. It's the Hadera Democratic School. And it's make a big change because after this the school in Hadera, all the alternative free school in the world begin to adopt the name the name Democratic School. And another very important thing, how it's happened that they adopt the idea of the name Democratic School. It's because IDEC. We built the first IDEC in Hadera School, and then we call it in the beginning the Conference of the Democratic Schools, and then we continue the name IDEC, and it's catch, and today I think we have more than 1,000 democratic schools in more than 400 countries. But another very important thing that happened in Hadera, that the school in Hadera is a public school. And that's, I think, one of the big goals of us as a democratic movement. Because I think we don't want to build a school to rich people, students. We want to build a school that everyone that wants to study in democratic school can study in democratic school. And another very interesting things that happened in Hadera, and you can see it next year in the next IDEC, this is a very big school. We begin it with 300 students, and today in the school they have 550 students. And it's, I think, the magic of the school, and you can see it next year in Israel, that is a big school, but a lot of intimate connections, and very, very personal. And that's, I think, the uniqueness. But if we look globally about all the 1,000 schools all over the world, and we can see what is, because a lot of people, when they say democratic education, it's different. It's different in Japan, it's different in Korea, it's different in Europe. But I think we can see four things that it's in most of the schools. And what we are seeing is, first of all, we see democratic community in every school. The school run by democratic community. It's different from school to school. But we have parliament meetings, we have different way of voting or consensus, but we have a democratic process that runs the school, in all the schools. Another things that we can see in all the schools, I call it pluralistic learning. What it means? It means that in all our schools, the students choose what to learn, how to learn, with whom to learn, and all these things we can find in most of the democratic schools. Another thing that we can see is dialogue relationship. In all our schools, we have a very close relationship between everyone to everyone. This is our goal. We are not want a close relationship between teacher and student. We want between student to student, between teacher to student. We believe that connection and close relationship is very, very important. And the fourth thing that it's not exist in all the democratic school, but in a lot of democratic school, I call it democratic content. What it means? When you look about the curriculum, is a lot of time you adapt the national curriculum, and the national curriculum is very nationality. And what we can see in democratic schools, that the curriculum comes from the point of view of human rights, of the right of the minority, the rights of the weak people. That's very, very important when you study history, you study other things. And so this is the fourth thing that I think you can find in all the democratic schools. But Sugat asked me, before I begin to talk, what is your definition of the democratic school? And this is not my definition. This is the tools. So what is the definition, from my point of view, of democratic school is this question. School, the dealing of what kind of education prepare for life in democratic society is democratic. So from my point of view, the definition is a question, not an answer. We have a question. What is connect all of us is the question. We can, every one of us, bring another answer. And that's, I think, what brings us until today. But today, to prepare life in democratic society, we see that our all democratic society is not so aye. And you feel something happened in the world. The economy not working, the connection between the people is not so good. So, and we see a lot of new things that happen today. About these new things, it will be my lecture today. I call it, what is democratic education 2.0? It's again a question. But the question is, what kind of education will develop the future of democracy? I think we can be a platform of thinking what needs to be the next democracy. What is the democracy that fit to this time and not to 50 years ago? If our government really democracy in all our countries, or we can do it much more, countries that will keep the human rights more. And I think this is the challenge that need to deal with the new education that I call it democratic education 2.0. And the new time, we are talking about the beginning of the knowledge age. The knowledge age that we are living now, from my point of view, change everything. And I think not a lot of people know the difference between information age to knowledge age. Information age, people make their living by working, by moving information from one side to another side. The old school, what they do, they have the curriculum and they put the curriculum inside, they move the curriculum inside the student. The knowledge age, when I begin to write the beginning of the papers about the knowledge, I was shocked. I was sure that the futurists become crazy. They begin to talk about that in the future, that it's mean now in the present, most of the people will go to work by creating new knowledge. All our students, if they want to be not poor people, they need to know how to create knowledge. And in the beginning I said, what it mean? In the future, everyone will be genius. They will find how to create knowledge. And step by step, I understand that we are talking about moving from a new paradigm of living and working from a pyramid to a networking. Because if I need to create the knowledge of this cell phone, it cannot be one man in the world, woman in the world that can create this knowledge. To create the knowledge of this cell phone, working 100,000 people together. And this togetherness, it's very fascinating. They need to work together to create this knowledge. And so what it's take me to think what is the pyramid paradigm, the old paradigm, and what is the networking. And that's very, very important to understand that we are now in a shift time from a paradigm of pyramid to a paradigm of networking. Pyramid, this is a cell of a pyramid. You see, empty cell that get information from above and send it down. So if you work in any place that someone tell you what to do and you move this information down, you are in a pyramid organization. And pyramid organization, it's continue like this. This is the pyramid organization, and the pyramid organization have 3 rules. If this rule exists, you are in a pyramid organization, and you know that your time is limited because your organization go to disappear. So the first rule is, knowledge is not important. Knowledge is not important. What makes the difference is your hierarchy. If you can be with the most knowledge, but if someone above you tell you to do something, you must do it. The second rule of pyramid, everyone compete with everyone to be more high. And the third rule of pyramid, ideas come only from top down. This is 3 rules. If you find this rule in any organization, it means that this organization will disappear in the near future. And you can see it in Kodak, you can see it in other organizations that I don't mention their name. Also here in Finland, you have one big organization like this. But this is, if you find these 3 elements, it means that it's pyramid organization. So what is networking organization? Networking organization, this is their cell. This is the cell of networking. It means that, first of all, is not empty. It's with color. It means to be part of networking, you need to be specialized in something. If you are not professional in one thing, at least, you cannot be part of networking. And then something happens. When you find your uniqueness, your color, you begin to see other color. I call it that if you are in a pyramid, you are a color blind. And if you are in a networking, you begin to see other color. You see the world much beautiful. I tell you what it means, and you can examine if you are part of a networking or a pyramid. If you see someone that think different than you. And you say, oh, you think different than me. Stupid. How you can think different than me? So you are part of a pyramid. Pyramid doesn't see and doesn't want connection with people that think different. But if you see someone that think different than you, and you say, wow, it's interesting. I must talk with him. I want to understand how we come to this idea. Oh, if this has happened to you, you have the option to be part of a networking. You doesn't need to adapt every idea. I can listen to him and understand him and say, oh, I don't like this idea. But that I'm interesting. That's make the networking of... So this is the beginning of network. That you find someone that in another color and you begin to talk one another. We are in the Jewish culture, call it Chevruta. 2,000 years ago, the main idea was how to learn is to meet someone that thinks different than you. That was the best way of learning. If you are only talk with people that think like you will stop your life. It's nothing will happen. And the continue of the networking is like this. This is what we are talking about, the democratic education 2.0. That everyone is a teacher and everyone is a student and everyone teach everyone. And so what we are talking now, we are talking about that we are in the time of changing of the paradigm. From a pyramid paradigm to a networking pyramid. And that's a very unique time. And this is a time that have a big challenge to the democratic schools. Because we can find ourselves in, I think, 10 years, disappear like the traditional schools. Because if we doesn't know to move from pyramid to networking, this is our challenge. We, in democratic education, we have a lot of pyramid ideas. I will show you immediately. And it's a big challenge to change. It's a very difficult to change. But we need to understand that the world is changing now. And we have luck. We have luck. We are living now. I think a lot of people that was connected to our community of humanistic ideas in the last 100 years, they hope that this moment will come. And this moment is now. And what we have done to do this lecture today, I organized this year. It's a group of ideas in this picture. It's a group of principals of democratic school all over Israel. And we begin to meet every month. And we begin to think how it will be the next generation of democratic school. And what I will show you now, it's our thinking. And we begin to think about these 5 things in the school. Time, activity, space, partners, and evaluation. Time. You know, we have sentence that all of us say all the time. That learning is everywhere, every time. But our school is from 5 hours a day, 8 hours a day. But we say that everything is learning. So what we are doing, let's think, this is the 44/7 of the week. And what you see here is the place that most of the school is open. We have schools that say 5 hours. We have schools that say between 8 to 2 to 4. We have some real that open 24/7. And I think we need to, we confuse the student, we confuse the parents, because they begin to think about learning only with the time of schooling. And we need to think about how to do that. Learning is 24/7. And we need to think what we need to be at school that support learning outside school. Because as we believe, school is not the only place that students study. So what we need to do at school that connect to 24/7. In this point, we have a lot of ideas. Maybe in the evening, I will make a workshop and everyone that want to more deeply in these things. But we need to look about school like this. What you can do at school at night. What we can do in the afternoon. How school is running in the weekend. And that's very, very, very important, because when we are limited only between 8 to 2, we are very similar to the traditional school, and the limited that we say all the time that this is not our limit, but it's our limit. And the second thing that when I'm talking about democratic education 2.0, about the activity. And the activity is what we learn at school and how we do things at school. The what is we can find in most of our school that what we are learning, like the traditional school, we talk about the content, about the past. We talk about the past. When we teach science, we talk about what was in the science. When we teach history, it's history. When we teach everything, we talk about the past. Some of us talking about the present, actuality, what happened today in the world, and very few about the future. I think if we want to help children to understand the world, they must to think about the future. See what happened around us. In the world that changed so dramatically. We must think about the future. I will give you an example. You know about robots. We see now a lot of robots. You remember how it was robots 10 years ago? Very primitive. Today we have much better robots. But we have a lot of thinking, what will be robots 10 years ago, from now? Let's imagine how it will be robots 10 years from now. It will be more like us, like human being, less. And this is the beginning of thinking about the future. But if you would say, let's think how it will be robot 100 years from now. It will be robots that will be human beings together. It will be biologic, it will be electronic. It's a lot of things about this. And I don't say that I want to think with the children about what they think about what will be happened. They can learn what professional people said it will be 100 years ago. And then imagine what they think. But think what happened with robots 1,000 years from now. And think what will be robots 10,000 years from now. And then it's not take over. And then come the big question, a big question that the science today talk about this. Are we robots? Maybe we are the generation of 10 years. We are robots or human beings? What is the difference? And all this, it's a great question. It's not a great question about the future. It's opened our eyes to see the present. Why we teach history? Because history gives us option to see better the present. But this is exactly the future. Especially if the goal is to create the new society, the new democratic society. So, we need to move from this point, from 7 to 10, to the new democratic education that we will teach about the past, about the present, and about the future. And then it's a big question, a big question that we're dealing with the group of democratic school principals. How what we are doing in school need to change. And I want to say to you something. In a lot of people that visit democratic school all over the world, they say, when you come to democratic school, you feel that you come to a new place. It's totally different. It's not look like democratic regular school. But when you come inside the classroom, you find the traditional classroom. And this is not, it's something we have not connected. And yeah, you can see, and I can say, Yaacov, you know, in Hadera School, we have also a very unique classroom. Yeah, but this is the unique. And we have a classroom that students teach, but it's small. In most of the classroom, you can come and the teacher teach student. Maybe they sit differently. They not in the rules. They can sit on the floor, they can sit, but teacher teach student. And I think the major thing of what we want to see in the new Democratic Education 2.0 is that the teacher and the relationship between teacher and student change. And it changed. We make experience in Israel. I need to know how much time I have. $70 minutes? Oh, I have 70 minutes. Wonderful. Then, yeah, tell me. We make experience in Israel in traditional school. Traditional school. We tell them, let's build a classroom of 2.0. And we have today hundreds of traditional school that change totally what they are doing in class. And that's what we done. We say only two goals we have. One, every student is a teacher. What it means? We build a lot of hundreds of methods that student teach student. And another thing, we say not everyone competed with everyone. The classroom have a goal. And together we try to achieve this goal. And this is, for example, the students begin to study together. You see this yellow and green. If student doesn't know something, he put a red card. If he know but not so much, it's yellow and green. I can teach you want. And then we can see that the child with the green teach the student with the yellow. We do such a thing in hundreds of schools. And a lot of traditional teachers begin to do it. And when we ask them why, and I say, Sugata, yesterday, because they tell me because they have much more time to do what they really want. We have today hundreds of classrooms that work by themselves. without teacher. The teacher can come and go out, and the school and the classroom work by teaching one another. But then we build another rule. The rule is the common goal. What does mean the common goal? The common goal, we build in every class this graph, and we say, for example, the goal can be evaluation of exams, but it can be also social. I want to, I can ask a question, for example, my goal is that everyone feel that other student saw him. And then we ask every week how you feel that other student in the classroom see you. And then we can see, we make, this is the average, and what we show is the average, not individual. And the classroom think, how I can do what we are doing in class, that people feel that we saw them. And this is the graph that we build in every classroom. So the students see all the time the results of what happened in the class, and they teach one another, but the magic, the student begin to think what's the best way to learn, teach one another. We take the monarchy of the teacher that think all the time how they can teach the student and move it to the student. In this point, we clarified what is the new kind of teacher that we are talking. We are talking from a transmitting teacher to a webbing teacher. What is transmitting teacher? That all the time he teach the student. And this is the best class of transmitting teacher. What you see that everyone becoming with the color that he want to have, all the students. So what is the webbing teacher? The webbing teacher, first of all, he understands that every student is different. And then he make connection that he studied the student and the student study him. And that's the beginning of what a webbing teacher doing. But you can say to me, Yaacov, this webbing teacher is also in the central. So what is the webbing teacher? Webbing teacher, this is the beginning. But later, what he doing, he say, okay, now that I understand what you with the blue want, you doesn't need me. You can go and take and help other one like this. And this make a networking inside the class. So webbing teacher, he begin to make connection between the student and go back. So this is the beginning of the webbing teacher, that he made a web of networking inside the classroom. The second thing that the webbing teacher doing, I all the time looking what is the principle, right? But it's by luck. I catch 1, 2, 3, 4. It's not systematic. This is microphone? This. Sorry, I forgot that it exists microphone. And so the other circle of the webbing, it's what we call education city. Not all the knowledge exists in the books, in the web, in the school. We can go also to a different organization that exists in the city and connect them to our children. But we can do it also with the third circle, with learning with all the world. Connect them, you are interested in this and this. We have a website that is great there. Or we can make connection with other classes. We can, for example, we are, my organization today, Education City, we organize teachers from all over the world that begin to work together and create new kind of education. And so when we are talking about webbing teacher, we are talking inside the class, inside the city, in all the world. That's, for example, a class that study with other class in a different place in Israel. They are in a different place, but they are learning together by Skype. Or here is Sugata, you see yourself? It's, for example, when we are making a meeting of democratic cities, I bring my friends from all the world, and we are talking together. We are need to think how to connect people from different places. Oops. Oh, shit. And the MOOC. You know, the MOOC is very important that today we are in Israel, study from the best university in the world, and we do it not by computer. We do it by flip classroom. That the students see the MOOC at home, and they come to class, and they teach one another. And that's changed dramatically how many people finish the MOOC. In the traditional, only 4% finish the MOOC. We are doing now in Israel a process that 90% finish the MOOC. So it can be student in the 9th grade, and they make MOOC of, MOOC it's massive open online courses. They make MOOC of Stanford, of graduate school student. So now let's look about the space, how it looks classroom. The traditional classroom, it's look like this. And when I say traditional, also in democratic education, traditional classroom, it's like this, but it's not sitting like this. They can sit different, but we have teacher and student. What we want to do in the web, in Democratic Education 2.0, and what we are doing also today, we find the uniqueness of every child, and then we don't need this chair and these tables. But if we're working like this, why we need one blackboard? We don't need this blackboard. We need all the classroom with blackboard. It's I want that the student can learn in all the area of the space of the classroom. So, wow. So this is, for example, a picture that I took a week ago in one of our schools in Israel. And you can see student teach student. We have blackboard all over the classroom, and they teach one another. You see here another classroom. Also, only student teach student. And it's not look quite good, but all is around blackboards. And they can learn. We also build a table with blackboards, and we teach one another. 2 minutes, okay. And this is a teacher that also works in the same way. Partners. And because I have only 2 minutes, I will do it shortly. I think in the traditional democratic education, like traditional school, we say that parents is isolated, and student it's important, but who make all the day-by-day school is the staff. And I think the new kind of education is compare between staff, student, and parents. Because today, when we don't involve parents and we think that learning is until 80, it's against what we think. We think lifelong learning. So let's think that the family come to the school and not the children come to the school. And a lot of time I have talking here with a lot of people, and they say to me, but if we involve parents, they will stop the freedom of the children. I think this is completely the opposite. When we don't involve the parents, they stop the children. But if they are part of what happened in school, they understand deeply. And that's, for example, you can find, this is a meeting in Hadera School, and you can see here, totally together, parents, graduate people, student and student. And then we can talk about, I need time because yeah, long one, yeah. And the external people partners. The external partners is, I take it from Estonia. Estonia have unbelievable things. They build e-resident. I am e-resident of Estonia. Everyone that wants to be e-resident of Estonia can be e-resident of Estonia. It's a big, very interesting situation, but think that people in the city, in your city, can be part of your school. And then we continue to be the democratic school as see all the city as a connect to the school. And you can find a central inside the city that will be the school. So what I'm talking the democratic education will be cooperate with public education, with public organization and private organization. I will say it, and then I will stop in this point. Everyone that know me for far, you know that I'm dealing a lot with the idea of education city. But what I'm doing by day, we are going to mayor, and from the mayor we go to the city. I think the new kind of democratic education can build the education city from bottom up. And that's what I am thinking we are going to do. And the last thing that I want to finish is that I see the key of what we are doing is to moving from, we do something alternative, isolated from the public school, to connect to the public school. I think that the new kind of education, I think democratic education is keeping the human rights. Human rights, the basic of human rights, it's freedom to learn without paying money. So the next IDEC that we are doing in Israel, that will be the issue. The connection between public school and democratic education. And what we will do, we help every one of you to bring his Minister of Education to Israel. And I tell you why it's easy. Because we can organize that the invitation will come from our government. And it will be official invitation. And we will make meeting between the public organization in different places in the world and between us. And we think it's the key to the continue. So now we give all this ball, all the details about this conference. And from my side, thank you. And
thank you. Thank you very much, Yaacov Hecht. So, if in any conference, this conference try to be also interactive, dialogical. So if you want, you have the possibility to make questions or comments, or if you want, you can challenge the speaker. So it's up to you. We have the time about 3 minutes to questions or comments. Please, you are welcome. Raise your hand.
Hi, Yaacov. Got a question. When I saw the pictures about democratic schools, to me they remind me very much about my own school about 50 years ago. What about schools without classrooms, without principals, without teachers, without curriculum, without blackboards, like democratic schools like 3.0, 4.0, 5.0?
I think, from my point of view, every school without is not interesting me. Every school without is not interesting me. Not continue what you want. I very interesting in what, because I don't need a school that is negative to something. I want to see with what you're doing. I like the idea without principle. I like but it's not idea. It's half of the idea. What happened? How to run the school? And you need to bring the idea how to run the school without something. And that's very, very, very interesting. And for example, I can give you an example. When we say education city, we don't say a school without wall. I can say without wall or without limited of space. But we say differently. We say all the city is one big school. And then people can ask me, okay, if all the city is one big school, why you don't say that all the world is one big school? And I have answer to this, because I think that education need to be also in the future blend learning. It need to be face by face and meeting, and also using web meetings. But this is interesting me. Yeah, I want to see how we run the schools that give much freedom to people, bring to people the option to bring themselves, to bring their voice. How to do it, I think it's a challenge. But to deal with this challenge, we need to move from without to what we are really doing. Someone? Yeah.
Okay, now the timetable is give us
in the
results,
evening
so
we will sit and.
So we go forward.